Welcome to Ordinary, a place where we uncover the hidden stories behind the everyday objects that quietly shape our lives. One of those objects is the pencil, something most of us use almost daily without ever stopping to think about it. But take a closer look, and one detail immediately stands out, that unmistakable bright yellow color. Have you ever wondered why pencils are yellow? Was it a deliberate decision, or just a coincidence that caught on over time? And who was the first to decide that pencils should look this way at all? As it turns out, the yellow pencil carries a surprisingly rich history, one that stretches across continents and ties together global trade, royal symbolism, and clever innovation. To understand how this simple design choice became such a lasting icon, we need to go back to the very beginning. Before color ever entered the picture, pencils themselves had to be invented. That story begins in the 16th century, in a quiet region of Borrowdale, England, where an unexpected discovery would change writing forever. Local miners soon uncovered massive deposits of what looked like an unusually pure substance. At first, it was mistaken for lead, which is why we still refer to the pencil's core as a lead today, but it was actually graphite. This material turned out to be incredibly effective for making marks on surfaces, and its usefulness made it extremely valuable in a short amount of time. Graphite, however, was fragile and difficult to handle on its own. To solve this problem, skilled craftsmen began wrapping the graphite in wooden casings, creating an early version of the pencil. As the idea spread, pencil production expanded across Europe. Countries like Germany, Italy, and France began making their own pencils, each experimenting with different designs and techniques. Still, the pencil didn't fully resemble the one we recognize today until the 19th century. That period marked a major turning point, especially with the arrival of the now famous yellow pencil. So why was yellow chosen? The explanation lies in a mix of history, culture, and international influence, involving the Austro-Hungarian region and its ties to China. This part of the story centers on Joseph Hardtmuth, who founded the company Koiner in Vienna in 1790. The company quickly earned a reputation as one of Europe's top producers of high-quality pencils. But it wasn't until the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago that Koiner revealed a product that would change pencil history forever, the first yellow pencil. This is where the story takes an interesting turn. Koiner wanted the world to know that their pencils were made using the highest grade graphite available, sourced from China. At the time, Chinese graphite was widely regarded as the finest in existence. To highlight this connection, and to project a sense of luxury and importance, the company chose to coat their pencils in a rich, golden yellow finish. In Chinese culture, yellow has long been linked to royalty, honor, and high status. It wasn't just visually striking, it carried a powerful message of prestige and excellence. To reinforce that image, Koiner even named their flagship yellow pencil after a legendary diamond, further signaling that this was a premium product. Music. The impact was immediate. The yellow pencil became a massive success, and rival manufacturers were quick to notice. Before long, pencil makers across the United States and Europe began releasing their own yellow-painted pencils. The color soon became associated with superior quality, largely because of its connection to elite Chinese graphite. Owning a yellow pencil meant you had something better than average. In many ways, it mirrored how certain brands or styles today suggest higher status, even when the product itself may be similar. The same idea applied to pencils in the late 1800s. Among the early adopters in America were companies like Eberhard Faber, which launched their own yellow pencil lines to compete with Koiner. Once the trend caught on, it spread rapidly throughout the industry. Koiner had effectively set the benchmark, and everyone else followed. But that raises an important question: why did yellow remain the standard? Much of that staying power came from the meaning the color yellow gradually took on. What began as a smart marketing move evolved into something far bigger. It became a recognizable symbol. Yellow was bold, bright, and impossible to ignore, which made it ideal for classrooms, stores, and crowded supply shelves where products needed to stand out. It's also important to remember the era. This was a time when modern advertising was rapidly expanding, and eye-catching visuals mattered more than ever. Vivid colors, especially yellow, naturally pulled attention and stayed in people's minds. Over time, the color came to represent more than its original connection to Chinese royalty. It began to signal reliability, consistency, and trust. By the early 20th century, yellow pencils were widely viewed as dependable tools, particularly when quality mattered. Manufacturers understood that consumers who had grown accustomed to seeing well-made pencils in yellow would continue to expect that same level of performance whenever they picked one up. As a result, yellow wasn't just a short-lived trend, it became a deliberate and lasting design choice. The growing American pencil industry played a crucial role in locking this standard into place. By the early 1900s, pencil manufacturers across the United States were producing millions of yellow pencils every year, and the color quickly became a standard for school supplies. What's fascinating is that the widespread adoption of yellow pencils wasn't just the result of clever marketing, it was a blend of historical influence and strategic branding. One key factor was the skyrocketing demand for pencils in schools nationwide. As public education expanded and more children filled classrooms, there was a pressing need for writing tools that were both affordable and dependable. American pencil makers recognized the opportunity. A yellow pencil could stand out in a crowded marketplace while still signaling quality. What had once been a symbol of prestige gradually became accessible to the general public, yet it retained that association with reliability and excellence. Even today, we rarely stop to consider why pencils are yellow. You might see pencils in all kinds of colors now, but the classic yellow pencil continues to dominate. And it's not just tradition or habit keeping it alive, there's a practical reason as well. The bright yellow color also makes pencils easy to spot, whether in a drawer, a pencil case, or a busy classroom. It's a shade that's both practical and instantly recognizable, which explains why it has remained the standard for well over a century. But there's more than just convenience behind the choice of yellow. Psychologically, the color evokes optimism, energy, and focus, qualities that come in handy whenever we're writing, sketching, or learning. Yellow is also a warm, inviting color, naturally putting people at ease, which makes it perfect for a tool so closely linked to creativity and education. So the next time you pick up a yellow pencil, pause for a moment and consider the remarkable journey behind this simple object. From royal connections to classrooms around the world, the yellow pencil has quietly been a faithful companion for generations. It's a reminder that even the most ordinary items often hold extraordinary stories. Thank you for watching. If you have ideas for our next episode, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to give you a shout out for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through ordinary. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fascinating stories hidden in the smallest details.